setting up on YouTube. Hello, I'm just waiting for people to turn up. Okay. Hello. Where are you from, by the way? I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. I'm just waiting for everyone to turn up. So I'm just yabbering on while I'm waiting. So where are you from? I'm in Vancouver. No snow. We don't get snow every year, but we usually, if we do, we'll get it for maybe a week. So where are you from? And did you have a snowy Christmas? Okay. Hello. Lethbridge, Alberta. I don't know where that is, Lethbridge. Actually, I don't like the pictures I did. My daughter and I had a painting party. I'm just lousy at art, but I think I'm going to buy a world map, because I coach people all over the world, and sometimes I don't even know where these countries are. So I should probably figure that out. Yeah. Alberta. Curious. Tampa Bay. I know where that is. Lethbridge, Alberta. Oh, okay. Is that on the main highway? Doesn't look like it is. Maybe it is. Probably drove through there as a kid. Okay, so I got a few people turning up. Porterville, California. Porterville. I've heard of that before, I think. I'm trying to get back in the swing of it. I actually took 2 days off. It's the first time I've taken 2 days off in my business in, God, years. So I was trying to answer emails today. I was like, what? What's this? So I just never take 2 days off in a row. Sometimes I'll take 1 day off. Connecticut, flurries on Christmas Eve morning and a small amount of leftover snow from last week. So it was a white Christmas. Oh, that's nice. It is nice when you got little kids, especially if you have a white Christmas. That's from Faith on YouTube. Okay, Grass Valley. Never heard of Grass Valley. That's cute. Welcome. Okay, LeClaire. Is that Iowa or Idaho? I don't know. Okay, so let's get going with your questions. By the way, I'll introduce myself first. If you're new, welcome. If not, welcome back. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. I'm a mom. I'm also a grandmother. And you can look at BratBusters.com. That's my website. And you can see my courses, my free behavior board, by the way, which really is a mini course. And it's got a toddler section in it now. Or you can look up coaching Iowa. Okay. We had lots of rain. Yeah, we had lots of that. Christmas Eve was great. No rain, but yesterday was lots of rain. 75, raising 2-year-old. So you're 75 and you're raising a 2-year-old? Is that right, Marcia? I can't hear the word Marcia without thinking of the Brady Bunch. I don't think I've ever known a Marcia, except for the Brady Bunch. So is that, I'm curious, are you 75 raising a 2-year-old? I'm curious now. North Dakota. Hello, Mary. Yeah, I'm just trying to get back into it. It's just hard after I took 2 whole days off. Wow. I never did. Wow. 75 raising a 2-year-old. Wow. I'm imagining that something not pleasant has happened. So that, yeah. Anyway, 75 raising a 2-year-old. So the thing is, as you get older, you have a lot of experience, a lot of life experience that you can pass on to a child, but they take a lot of energy, especially at 2 years old. So yeah, good for you. I could do it all again. I'm 64. I could do it all again. But yeah, I don't know how. It should be different, wouldn't it? It should be different. I got all this wisdom. Maybe part of the excitement of parenting when you're younger is you're kind of learning as you go along too. Yeah, I wouldn't have that. Okay, so just a sec here. Lots of fog for Christmas and rain in Bartonville, Illinois. You have been a lifesaver on how to navigate a toddler. Oh, thanks so much for that, Rachel. I appreciate that. I had a lovely Christmas. I hope everyone else did too. I'm always so grateful that I've got wonderful kids and their partners are wonderful, and I've got a granddaughter, and so I feel very fortunate. So I don't know. I mean, I couldn't imagine not having kids at my age. You know, I don't know what I'd be doing. I'd probably be in Tahiti or something, but I'd rather be here with my kids. Okay. Agree. Exhausting, but so worth it. Yeah, it would be very interesting raising kids like at our age and, in your senior years. Like I said, I could do it. If I had to do it, for sure I could do it. Yeah, wouldn't learn a lot because I've already been there, done that. But it would sure be interesting. Okay. Love from Alberta. Hi, Robin. Holding it down for the generations. Oh, you know what's great about having adult kids? My kids are 30 and 35 is I don't host anymore. Whew, I hate cooking. God, I hate cooking. I didn't even have a tree because I didn't do any hosting. So it was great. Had a lovely holiday. Okay, so I'm just waiting for your questions to come in. I'm not usually on at this time. This is really unusual. I took 2 days off. I'm trying to get back into it now. That's the first time I've taken 2 days off in years. Like I can't remember the last time I took 2 days in a row off. That's not true. I think I answered a couple emails on Christmas Eve morning. But anyway, but basically I took 2 days off. Wow. Hope you are well. Thanks so much, Daniela. Hope you're well too. I had a lovely Christmas. I must admit, I find it, as I'm getting older, I find it really hard to see all the homeless people. Every big city has a lot of homeless people. I'm finding, I don't know what's going on with me, but I'm finding it really hard looking at all these homeless people around Christmas. Well, that sounded like I find it really hard. No, I don't find it really hard, but I sure think more about, as I'm getting older, I don't know what's going on with me, but I'm just, can't walk by them anymore without bugging me. So I do the best I can. I try and help out a bit. My oldest is 34 and youngest just turned 18. So learning how to be an adult without a child. Yeah, it's a big adjustment, that empty nest syndrome. It's huge. I really struggled with it for a while, but not really struggled with it. But yeah, I didn't like it initially, but then now I'm into it. So, okay, this is Daniela. On YouTube, I have 2 kids, 1.5-year-old and almost 3-year-old. My oldest gets into moods where he doesn't want to participate in things like Sunday school, doesn't want pictures. Yeah, we're not always going to be in the mood for things. So if it's something that he has to do, just say, that's life, kiddo. I don't always like cleaning the toilet, but I got to do that. So yeah, I told my kids that they don't have to like everything that they do. And my kids learn that from a very young age. Like you have to earn the fun stuff by doing what you got to do. So I just told them that. I didn't try and talk them into liking things if they didn't like them. I just say, I have to do lots of things I don't like either. So just, too bad. Oh, you're also from Vancouver. I would love to book a personal visit with you. Not sure if I don't do anything in person anymore. Everything's done online. But yeah, I don't do that anymore. I used to do that in-person stuff. I used to do a lot of public speaking in that. But yeah, I don't do that anymore. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work going out and meeting people. It's just easier to sit here. Yeah, I do have a wait list for coaching. I'm booking in, I think right now, second or third week of January. Not sure. But then people reschedule, so there's often openings before that. Oh, I did answer that question, didn't I? I forgot about that. It's funny how I'll say something and then I'll forget about it right away. You're right, Tabitha. Tabitha's a regular. It's very late for me. I'm usually in bed by 9. I'm not good at night. I don't think straight at night. I'm terrible. But yeah, I just wanted to come back on. I'll admit, I really missed you guys. Like, I love my work. And I took 2 days off. And then today it started bugging me. I took basically most of Christmas Eve and all Christmas Day off. Didn't answer emails at all yesterday. So, but yeah, so I miss it. That's the thing, is when you work for yourself, it's 24/7. So you better like what you do. So I'm lucky I do. Whole bunch of stuff I hate doing in my business, like admin work. It's a whole bunch of that I hate. But overall, I love what I do. It's a passion of mine. So very lucky. Okay, Daniela. So in church, the kids will go up to sing or do something small every Sunday. My oldest just puts his hands in his mouth and doesn't participate, then runs off stage. I'm just not sure what to do. So you said your youngest. I thought your youngest, this is the 1.5-year-old? Oh, yeah. Just people probably just laugh at that. Like, they're just kids, right? Yeah. So I would just laugh. I'd go, sorry, no manners here. So yeah, I'd just make a joke out of it. Because that's the 18-month-old, right? Yeah, that's awfully young. Okay, this is Tabitha. My 18-month-old just kicked me. This is on YouTube. My 18-month-old just kicked me out of her room at bedtime. She does this to me often. I was missing you today. Oh, my hubby has to lay with my toddler till she falls asleep. 18 months old. Is she in a crib? At 18 months old, is she already in big person bed? Yeah. He has to lay with her. I'm assuming she's in a bed. I don't really want to address that because I don't quite know what's going on there. But yeah, I wouldn't be laying with an 18-month-old till they go to sleep. She can learn to fall asleep on her own. Grand crib. Oh, okay, grand crib. Yeah, you might want to wean her off that. I know what I'd do, but sometimes it's harder for parents to do this stuff. So just my general live answer here. In coaching, it's different because I put a lot of other information into it. But so what I would do is I would maybe lay and give her a hand to hold. And I would pretend I'm asleep beside her. I wouldn't be talking to her. I wouldn't be holding her. I just give her a hand. So something to touch, you know what I mean? But yeah, and then just sort of do it further and further away until he's out of the room. You can try that. How do you feel about homeschooling? I don't have an opinion on homeschooling, religion, breastfeeding till they're up and running around, private schools, Montessori. That's all personal choice. So I don't have any comment on that. If it works for you, it's great. It's a personal choice. It's not a you should do this. I guess everything's subjective anyway, really. Yeah, I took 2 days off, and darned if I'm sitting here tonight thinking, geez, I missed it. I love what I do. Okay, how to stop a 1-year-old from biting? Not much you can do. The first time they bite, you just go no, and you sort of gently hold onto their hand and just sort of go like this, and you say no, and make sure they can't get at you. And then every time after that, you sort of just prevent the future bites, say no, really gently, turn them around so they can't bite you from the other, so they're facing outward when you're carrying them somewhere. They'll eventually learn because they're not going to get anything positive when they do it. It's not so much, you're not disciplining a 1-year-old so much, but you're just making sure that there's nothing fun happening while they're biting. Like, in other words, they can't keep doing it, but they're going to try stuff. The worst is when they bite when they're breastfeeding. Jeez. That was like 30 years ago. I still remember that. You can't have that happen without screaming, which scares the bejeebies out of them. And that sort of is what ended up stopping my kids from doing that. But I just screamed out in pain, and then they started crying. But yeah, that's a whole other level. Okay, you got a 2-year-old who's constantly throwing things, not in anger, but just because he thinks it's funny. Yeah, I would just keep saying no and then take something away. But I would do you got to be able to take something away from him or remove him from the fun. So I would make sure if you know that he's prone to doing that, play with him, hope he throws something while you're playing with him, and then say no, and then get up and walk away. Stop the play. So you can take something fun away, right? What advice do you have for us? I don't know. What are you asking? Okay. Oh, you got a 2-year-old who just throws tantrums. Yeah, they'll eventually learn. Um, so if you've got a 2-year-old who's throwing tantrums every time they don't get their own way, make sure they do not get their own way with a tantrum. A tantrum is not emotions or feelings. It's a loss of emotional control at not getting their own way. Make sure there's no payoff for that. They eventually lean into what works and they lean away from what doesn't work. It's a slow burn. It's not going to happen overnight. Nothing with a 2-year-old happens overnight. It's consistency and repetition, repetition, repetition. Okay, this one I could go in a lot of different ways with this. Is Jennifer Rust. How would you handle a 7-year-old who tells on siblings all the time? I'm assuming that's the younger one telling on older ones. Maybe not, though. Sometimes the younger one likes to tell on the older ones, especially because it makes them feel superior because they always feel like the underling anyway. So that's more common or probably happens more often, but they might be telling on any age, younger ones. I would say, I'll tell you what, because this child's 7, you can say this. I'll tell you what, tattling on someone all the time, unless it's something really big, there's going to be a consequence if you do. You are not the parent, I am. So tattling is not a likable quality. Say that. It's not likable. I'm sure you do stuff and get away with stuff that I don't find out about too. So yeah, just make sure there's a consequence. You know, a lot of parents have problems with consequences. Probably not if you're watching me. You probably already know that that's what I'm all about. We all learn through consequences. A lot of parents say, well, I don't want to be disciplining all the time. Don't look at it that way. Look at it like a knee-jerk reaction. What you put out, you get back. So that's what I told my kids. I said, if you're good, life is good. If your bad, life ain't so good. I'll make sure of that because I'm your mom and that's my job. So, but we all run our lives through consequences. We pay our bills or else the heat gets turned off, or we don't speed as much as we'd like all the time because we'll get a ticket. You see, we run our lives through consequences. The sooner your children learn that they have control over their lives. That's what it was all about with me. You have total control over your lives, kids. I always told my kids that. You have total control over your lives. Total. It's your choice. Right? You see? So it's actually a positive. So consequences are just your job to teach them that if they make a poor choice, then there's a consequence. Okay. Daniela, thank you for answering. I love how straightforward you are and how confident you seem. I really appreciate your advice. It goes beyond. Okay. Yeah, it's just I'm old. You just get wisdom when you're old if you're paying attention. Plus, I'm very open-minded. I'm always trying to learn. Always. I'm always very excited by things, and I'm always like a sponge taking in information. So, but yeah, I'm old. That's why I've got wisdom. That's why I'm confident. Plus, I'm not confident with everything. I want to make that very clear. I'm a leader with kids, very much so. But in my personal life, I'm a follower for sure. In my inner circle, I'm a follower for sure. Anyone will tell you that. And yeah, I don't like leading in my personal life. It's very different. But with kids, I love kids enough to do what needs to be done with children. That's how much I love kids. I feel a huge responsibility towards children and teenagers. And I love them enough to do what needs to be done, to turn them into good people with high self-esteem who like themselves. A teenager I worked with years ago said, I didn't like myself until I met you, Lisa. Like that is the job of a leader, is to bring out the best in them. That's all this is about. You bring out the best in them and then their self-esteem increases, right? Oh, Tabitha, parenting is amazing now. Thank you so much. Oh, you know, I always say, I give you the advice, but you're the one who does all the work. You got to go through the storm to get to the rainbow. Thanks for teaching me that. Lisa, I now welcome tantrums, but they are few and far between. We've only been following you for 4 months. Oh, so you're quite new. Yeah, you're doing the work. So pat yourself on the back. I'm just here with the advice, right? Can you explain why my children listen wonderfully outside of the home, 4, 2, 5, and 1, but at home they're needy, clingy, they hit and yell a lot. I don't discipline differently, so I don't understand. Children listen wonderfully outside of the home, but they're needy, clingy. It's usually the other way around. I don't know. I'll be honest. That's Frugal Mama. Oh, I've seen you've been here before. I don't know. Usually it's the other way around. They're usually better at home than you go out because you're too embarrassed to discipline when you're out. So I don't know. It could be social pressure. Maybe the older ones are too embarrassed to act out when they're out. That could be it. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I would need to figure that one out. I'd need to ask a lot of questions. Okay. Yeah, I feel all rusty. I took 2 whole days off in my business. I never do that. I haven't done that in years. 2 days off. It just felt weird. I was trying to answer emails tonight thinking, oh, I'm making a mistake. It was weird. Just not used to it. Okay. Oh, someone wrote something profound. How do you deal with disrespectful teenagers? They're only disrespectful because you haven't earned their respect, right? That's a tell. If they're disrespectful towards you, it means you haven't earned their respect. You got to work on yourself, not on them. Everyone wants to fix their kids and their teenagers. I don't do that. I fix you. I teach you how to earn respect. That's all I do. Yeah, I don't have a course on teenagers. If you're interested, you can look up coaching. I do have a wait list for that. Anyway, I'm going to read out my top 5 tips for parenting teenagers. They're my favorite age, by the way, teenagers. When you understand them and you show them respect, they're actually quite easy. Okay, number 1, listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will shut you out. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. They already know it anyway. Number 2 is you negotiate as much as possible with the teenager. Hey, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper from now on. What do you want from me? Reciprocity, right? You give respect to get it. Everyone expects respect, but they're not earning it. You got to earn it. You got to work your butt off to get respect with teenagers. Number 3, with teenagers, don't sweat the small stuff. If they do something stupid and it's not a big deal, just say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age? And laugh it off. Or do you want to hear what I did today? It's okay to make mistakes, okay? People are often a lot harder on their teenagers than they are on themselves. It's quite interesting. Number 4 is don't leverage the good times to discuss the bad times. Often when I'm working with a family, I'll teach them how to connect with their teenager. And I say, when you're connecting and you're out having fun with them, you go out for, I don't know, coffee or movie, whatever. And then do not bring up the bad stuff that you've been going through with them. Do not do that. So sure enough, every so often one will slip through and then they can't figure out why their teenager gave them the finger and left. You can't put that together. This is so wonderful. We're out together having fun because you've been really difficult the last 2 years. Ooh, big mistake. Number 5 sort of is along the same lines of that. Number 5 is with teenagers, you can either be a right fighter or you can be happy. That could be said for adults too. There's nothing like silence when they're arguing. They already know they're wrong. By the way, if they're arguing something ridiculous and you know you're right, let it go. Let them go. Keep your mouth shut. I know it's hard to do. You can either be a right fighter or you can be happy. The same could be said for adult relationships too. If someone's arguing and it's something ridiculous, they know they're wrong, let them go. You're much more likely to get an apology if you just keep your mouth shut because they know. It takes a lot of confidence to do that. I'm old. I've learned over the years. But yeah, I was a right fighter for sure when I was younger. I'm not at all anymore. Because it doesn't work. It doesn't work with anybody. It just doesn't work. How would you handle a toddler that gets so worked up during a tantrum that they throw up? Yeah, you're not going to like my answer, but not much you can do about that. You still have to ignore the tantrum. Lots of kids will throw up. It's quite common. You got to get through that storm to get to the rainbow. If you were to interfere in a tantrum, their throwing up will get even worse next time. They'll throw up quicker because they know it gets attention. If they throw up, I would just clean it up. I still wouldn't talk to them or look at them though. And you're right there. You're right there. You're not leaving them alone, but you're ignoring them. It's very different. You're like filing your nails, right? You're just waiting for that tantrum to be over. You got an autistic daughter. I don't discuss autism on here. That's in the special needs department. That would be one-on-one coaching with me. So I can't answer that here. I have to assess the situation. Love your words, my dear. Well, thank you very much, Robin. Okay. Oh, if you've got a 2-year-old who's doing the gagging with their finger in their throat, I would hold their hand. If they're having a tantrum and they're acting like that, I still wouldn't look at them. I would just hold their hand and prevent that. Do you know why they do that? Because it works. Yeah. Some kids will try it once, but they won't try it usually more than once if it doesn't work. So yeah, the sooner you can ignore that, the better. Okay. This is so cute, Tabitha. I may be new, but I'm here and listening to you talk and taking notes all the time, the entire 4 months. You've helped me tremendously. I'm so thankful. Due in January with my second. They will be 19 months apart. Oh, I'm scared because, I'm less scared because of you helping me. By the way, you're going to have a toddler and a newborn. Chaos. Just accept it. It's very short. It's going to be a very short period of time. You will have some really beautiful moments and probably the opposite. It's just part of it. I had 5 years between my two. It wasn't planned. I had a miscarriage and back surgery between my two. So it wasn't planned, but I'm glad it happened that way because I only had 2 kids. And my son went to grade 1 and then I had newborn. So I had all those 5 years, me and my son. It was wonderful. And then he went off to school and then I had all that time with my daughter too. And he was too old. Like he was more of a helper, right? He was too old to be jealous or anything because we were really close. Okay. Oh, you got a 4-year-old who thinks it's funny to hit the dog? I would put on the behavior board. It's completely free. BratBusters.com. Go there. Put down no hitting the dog. And I would say, I'll tell you what. I would go straight to the big consequence. I always have 2 consequences for the kids. The first one is a positive action. If they won't do that, I go right to the negative deprivation. If they're hurting an animal and you can't control that, rehome the animal. There's no way I would allow an animal of mine to be abused in my home. If I couldn't control my kid, I would rehome the animal, even just temporarily. My kids grew up with pets, and I used to tell them, you never pick up the dog. It was a Maltese. I was afraid they were going to drop her. They were never allowed to pick up the dog, and they weren't allowed to run past the bird cage. I didn't want the bird to get startled. So they just learned from a very, very early age. But if I couldn't control them and they weren't well behaved with the animals, I would have rehomed the animals. I love animals. I would never allow that. So yeah, take it really seriously. Spanking and yelling are 2 things. I would never recommend them. It's fear-based. It's like maybe it works in the short term, but in the long term it backfires. It's not a good thing to do. It's you just do it because you don't know what else to do. I'm here to teach you what else to do. So when they're under the age of 3, you use consistent corrective actions. That's with a toddler. 3 and above, use the behavior board. I'm moving over to Instagram now if you want to join me over there. And I'm also on YouTube the whole time. So thanks so much for joining me. Merry Christmas. I hope you had a good one. And so I'm heading over to Instagram now. I'm still on YouTube, so. I've got an addiction issue. I can't get off TikTok. My God, it's addictive. What is it? It's like crack. It's just been scrolling TikTok like crazy. Okay. Good evening. My daughter's from Sonia Wood. I think I've seen that name before. My daughter's 9. How can I build up her self-esteem to fully like herself? When you're a good leader, leaders are really good at bringing out the best in kids and encouraging them to be outgoing, be confident, and all that stuff. Work on your leadership skills. It will increase their self-esteem. It tends to calm them down. It just does. Your leadership is what will help her self-esteem. So by the way, self-esteem and confidence are 2 different things. A lot of people get those 2 mixed up. A lot of kids are very confident. They can get up on stage but they have low self-esteem. A lot of kids have high self-esteem, but they couldn't get up on stage. Confidence is often different. They can go together. But yeah. Okay, so welcome to my live. I'm on Instagram and YouTube. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. I'm also a mom. I'm also a grandmother. And if you go to BratBusters.com, you can get my free behavior board. That is like a mini course, and it didn't always used to be, but it is now. And it also has a little toddler section on there too, because the behavior board is for 3 and above. You can also look into my courses. I have 2 courses, boot camp courses, one for toddlers, one for 3 to 12-year-olds. And anything above that would be coaching. I don't have a course on teenagers. I was hoping to get that done this year, but we is busy. My daughter and I are so busy in this business. And we got the podcast going. And we're putting our energy where you're going. The podcast has just taken off. So now we're doing 2 a week. And we didn't expect that. So we've put other stuff on the back burner. The teenage course is one of those things. The behavior board is at BratBusters.com. That's my website. Be careful with that. There's a whole bunch. I've got a big following now, and there's a whole bunch of imposters out there pretending to be me and taking money from people. And then they don't deliver anything. They use my videos. They use everything. And they're, you can't, if you shut them down, they just pick up another place. You can't control that. It's just part of it. On your profile link. Yeah, it'll be up there somewhere. I don't do my social media. My daughter does all that. I hope you had a good Christmas. I took 2 whole days off over Christmas. Whew, threw me off. I was just not used to that. That's the first time in years I've taken 2 days in a row off. Sometimes I'll take a whole day off, and that's not true. I always check my emails. Yeah, but I didn't answer anything for 2 days, I don't think. Anyway, certainly yesterday I didn't answer anything. But wow, that was weird. When you work for yourself, you better love what you do because it is 24/7. Luckily, I love what I do. I don't like every aspect of my business, all the back end admin crap. I hate all that stuff. But anyway, got to do it. Okay. You said, I'm going to answer this, but I'm not going to answer it. I'm going to tell you why. How do you make your 5-year-old do his ABCs? He absolutely refuses to sit down and states, I can't do it. That's academics. I don't teach that. So that would be a teacher question. I stay away from that stuff. What age do you recommend moving out of the crib? I did with my kids. I waited till they flopped on the floor. As soon as they both did that, I don't know I'm pretty sure they both did. I know my son did. He did it twice in one day. You think he would have learned? Like flopped out. I said, oh, sweetie, you can't put him back. He's crying. Put him back. And then he did it right again. And then I dismantled the crib and I just put the mattress on the floor. That was just, there is no set age. Okay. It's like a lot of stuff. There's no absolute set age. Potty training is sort of 2.5 is sort of a set age for that. But even then, some kids train earlier, some kids train later. But yeah, with that, there is no set age. They're all different. I know some kids who, some of my clients' kids are up to 4 years old and they love the crib. They want to be in there. They could, and the side is down even. Like they could easily get in and out, but they just love the crib. So they're all different. 2-year-old asks for a hug when she's crying and having a tantrum. No, that's a validate me, reward the tantrum. Yeah, that's not a love hug. That's a manipulative hug. Okay, yeah, you just ignore that. You're just filing your nails while they're having a tantrum. And then when they're done, I need a hug. At the end of the tantrum, you say, you're all right, pat them on the back. Let's go read a book or something. So you still don't hug right after it. You never want to go ooh around a tantrum, ever. It's condoning it. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. You never want tantrums to work. You never want to attach anything positive to a tantrum. Attention is tantrum food. You're fertilizing it. So yeah, hug. Yeah, no way I'm filing my nails. They can be glomming onto me. I'm filing my nails. Yeah. They'll learn sooner than, and it's not a tantrum is not emotional trauma at all. It's a loss of emotional control and not getting their own way. You really want to validate that? Nope. Okay. It's from Brandy Proctor. I've been listening to you and following your advice since my baby was about 14 months. She's now 22 months. Love your advice. I've baby-proofed so much and still find myself having to say no. She's 22 months. Okay. Her grabbing stuff from areas she can reach. I'm using the consistent corrective action, saying no and taking a toy away. Can you talk more in depth at all? Should I say I'm taking a toy away? Maybe use more diversion. Get her more interested in play. Do you have a toy room, a playroom? Too much stuff around, too much stimulation? They tend to get bored. The more stuff you have around everywhere, the more likely they are to be bored and get into trouble elsewhere. If you do a toy rotation system and then you pull stuff out, they're more likely to be focused on that. So that could be it. You're not playing with her enough, or you're not doing a toy rotation system. Could help. I don't know. I don't know anything for sure. We're just throwing mud at the wall and see what sticks, right? Now, some stuff I know for a fact, but not that one. They're just toddlers. Toddlers are nuts, right? We're just trying stuff with toddlers. I'm going to read out my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. Number 1, child-proof your home so you never have to say no. I'm exaggerating. Obviously, you still have to say no, but I like exaggerating. So yeah, you're laughing at that one now. I still have to say no. Anyway, set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. Again, they might sometimes be bored, but I just telling you, I'm just giving you advice here. See what works. Okay, number 3, you connect with toddlers in their world, not in yours. This is a for sure thing. You want to connect with a toddler in their world, not yours. You don't go to the nail salon with a toddler to connect and bond with them. You go to the park and roll down the hill with them. It's a whole different level of connecting. Number 4, and again, same idea here. This is for sure, in my view anyway, discipline toddlers in their world. Toddlers are not about words. They're about actions, consistent corrective actions. They learn through repetition. They're not listening to you. They are watching you. Those mini therapy sessions discussing all their big feelings and big emotions. I know it's trendy, but it's absolute garbage. Toss it out the window. Number 5, stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are not figure-outable. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They've got one marble and some tumbleweed floating around in there. Imagine if you've only been in the world for 2 years. In the first year, you were a potato laying on a mattress. Don't expect too much from them. Usually parents expect way more from toddlers than they should. They also often expect way less from teenagers than they should. And I don't mean expecting them to do things for you. It's a whole other conversation, by the way. But yeah, they're just forming. Brand new. Oh, that's the same you were on there, Brandy. So you're Brandy Lyon on Instagram and you're Brandy Proctor on. Yeah, play with her more. Very good. Okay. There's, my advice is so general on here. Coaching is where I dive in, but you don't all need coaching, right? But that's where I really dive in and get personal about your own specific situation. But yeah, and here it's just, I'm just throwing ideas out there. By the way, when I'm doing these lives, I'm just responding to what you're saying, but I got to keep reminding myself it's all about discipline on these lives, but I'm not about discipline. It's a very tiny part of what I'm all about. I'm more about connecting with kids. I'm about bonding with them, connecting with them, making them feel good about themselves. That is what I'm all about. It's not about discipline. I deal with bad behavior, but then I switch it right away and I focus on the good kid. That's the pool story. That's the first video here on Instagram. On YouTube, I don't know where it is, but it's called Example of Leadership Parenting, and it's the pool story. It explains my whole theory of how you raise children. You deal with, I don't ignore any bad behavior. I deal with bad, and a tantrum is not bad behavior, by the way. It's a loss of emotional control at not getting your own way. A tantrum is not bad behavior. It's annoying, but it's not bad behavior. Okay, sorry, I'm scrolling ahead to make sure you're still here. I feel so rusty. I took 2 days off. My brain, I'm pulling out cobwebs here. It's funny, eh? I love connecting with my toddler. It's rough sometimes, but takes a lot of patience. Yeah, you get used to it. And they are kind of boring in that you can't have a conversation with a toddler. You know what I mean? It's fine for a while, but then after a while, you just crave adult conversation. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I can remember and I was out all the time. Not so much for the kid, but for my own sanity. I can remember I got a really good piece of advice from an older parent in the neighborhood. And we were talking over the fence or something. And I said, oh, I had a horrible night. The baby was up sick all night. I was sick. It was just awful. I haven't had any sleep. And she goes, best thing you can do is don't worry about how you look. Just put on some clothes and get out there. Put the baby in a pram. I raised my kids in Australia. It's called a pram, not a stroller. Put your baby in the stroller and just get out. You'll see other moms walking around like this too. So I was always searching out other moms, which I love. It keeps you positive. It keeps you social. But then the funny thing is, I was always searching out other moms. That's why I was out all the time with my kids. But then what do you talk about? Nothing but kids. Poop and pee and diapers and vomit. And you're talking about all this disgusting stuff. So you're searching out other moms, but then that's all you're doing is talking about your kids. But you're still having an adult conversation. So that's why I think it's easier if you get out as much as possible and you're still having adult conversations. It's easier to connect with your toddler. If you're filling up your own cup, like your brain, you still have to talk to adults, right? He's about 3. How long is too long to sit and do an activity? Whatever works, whatever you're into. There is no set time. I did a lot of, I like my kids around me all the time. So when they were playing, I was always chatting with them. So if I was in the kitchen, they were in the family room, I was always chatting, and even that's connecting, right? Oh, what are you doing there? Oh, that's so good. You're so clever. So that's connecting. You don't have to be on the floor all the time with them. I did a lot of that too, but you don't have to be on. You know what I used to do? I'm a bit of a cheater. I didn't always want to do what they were doing. So I would lay on the floor and then I would build stuff around me. So I would be like the mountain they had to drive their cars over or whatever. So, I was still there connecting with them, and I'd be chatting and that, but I didn't always want to do what they were doing. But yeah, I was there. Yeah, there is no set time that you should be connecting. Everyone wants to know, and I'm like this too, like, how often should I do this? How often should I do that? But with different things. But yeah, there is no set time. Okay. Good question, Desiree. It's on YouTube. I'm new here. How did you keep your kids safe while being out? I have bad anxiety. Oh, I often say my least favorite years with my kids were the toddler years. Not when we were at home, but when we went out. Constant worrying. You can't enjoy yourself when you're out with your toddlers unless you're at a park with another mom and you're both watching the kids. That's about it. But otherwise, yeah, I was a nervous wreck. When we were out with the kids. I was always watching them. I lost sight of one of my kids once, and it was in a mall, crowded mall, and I freaked out. Like, it was just, and he was right behind me. Oh my God, mommy. And he was right behind me. So yeah, that feeling. Anyway, so yeah, just part of parenting. Wait till they're teenagers and they're out at a party late at night. We'll talk then. It was good because I always knew where my kids were. We were still in contact throughout the night when they were out, when they were teenagers, but still. Yeah, you think you got worries now. Wait till they're out on their own. They start driving and God, such a good comment. And I'm going to nix it. Being a good parent is hard work. It's easy for the bad parents. Absolutely not. It's way easier to be a good parent and be a leader. Way easier. Maintaining leadership is a piece of cake. They'll be respectful, even through the teen years. They'll tell you everything. Yeah, and I don't want to say the word bad parent, but being a parent who isn't a leader is way harder. Way, way, way harder. Getting respect is hard work, but maintaining it's a piece of cake. So yeah, way, way easier being on top of this stuff, being a leader. I work, but you got to earn that. Like, I've worked with hundreds of kids, troubled teenagers, everything. I worked my butt off to get their respect. But then once I had it, smooth sailing. You got to earn that. You got to work for it. Okay. This is from Alicia. They use the dreaded countdown method of discipline at daycare. By the way, daycare, schools, they're all different. What works there doesn't work at home. It's different. Anyway, now our son has started counting us down when he wants us to do something for him. That's great. Yeah, I would never, like, whatever they do, that's none of my business. Give your kids to someone else to look after. Don't micromanage. Don't worry about it, because when they come to you, they'll be right in line with your leadership anyway. Because leadership has more power over children than anything else. They will lean into your leadership. Past the age of about 2.5 to 3, you'll really see that. So no matter where they are, as soon as they're back with you, they lean right into it, because that's what makes them feel the most safe, is your leadership. But anyway, yeah, don't worry about what other people do with your kids. If you trust someone enough to look after your kids, don't micromanage. We were saying over Christmas, my granddaughter is just almost 1. She'll be 1 next week. And we were saying Christmas just isn't the same. When you've got kids, when your kids are 3, usually 3 and above, 3 to maybe 12, around there, there's nothing like Christmas. Like, it's so exciting. And now she's 1. She doesn't even know how to open up a present. It's just not the same. But when there's little kids around, it's totally different. So I hope you all had a great Christmas. So much fun watching them get all excited. Okay. How to earn respect with a 13-year-old boy. I'm going to read out the top 5 tips for parenting teenagers, but that is coaching. I'd have to figure out what kind of parent you are. There's a whole bunch of information I need to gather to teach you how to move forward with a teenager. By the way, they only disrespect you because you haven't earned their respect. That's all. That's all it is. Okay, this is my top 5 tips for parenting teenagers. You listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will shut you out. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. They already know it anyway. Number 2 is you negotiate pretty much everything with a teenager. Hey, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper from now on. What do you want from me? Go back and forth. The better you get at that, they're really respectful. They don't ask for anything ridiculous. They're very respectful because they feel respected, right? Number 3, with teenagers, don't sweat the small stuff. If they do something stupid and it's not a big deal, just say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did at your age? And laugh it off. It's no big deal. Number 4, don't leverage the good times to discuss the bad times. If you're struggling with your teenagers and you're sitting down playing a video game with them and laughing, do not use that time to have a therapy session with them. They will shut you out, as they should, okay? If you're having fun with them, just enjoy, relax. Number 5 is with teenagers, you can either be a right fighter or you can be happy. You can't be both. I would say that for any adult relationship too. You can be a right fighter or you can be happy. Yeah. They know you're right. If you're right and you're arguing with your teenager, stop talking. They already know you're right. Why are you talking? There's no point. Okay, I'm going to move over to TikTok now if you want to join me over there. Yeah, and I'm on YouTube the whole time. So thanks so much for joining me and Merry Christmas. I hope you had a great Christmas. Bye now. If the United States loses TikTok, that's 750,000 followers for me. And I think a lot of those are American. So it'll be interesting. We'll see. It might not happen. Okay. TikTok's my biggest platform. Then Instagram, then Facebook, then YouTube's way down there. Okay, welcome to the live. I hope you all had a great Christmas. I took 2 full days off. First time ever in my business. Years and years and years. Okay. Oh, this is cute. I'm gonna read this out. I mean, it's just praising me, which is not why I'm reading it out. Anyway, Brandy said, and I'm going to tell you why I'm saying this. What I love about your advice is that it's experience-based. I'm always talking to my husband about BratBuster. Anyway, this is experience-based. Everything I learned, kids taught me, teenagers taught me. Teenagers are the ones who told me, you got to teach this stuff, Lisa. No one's ever talked to us like you have. I know how to give respect to kids. That's how you get it. I figured it out all by myself. I was 11 years old and I started volunteering in daycare centers. This is experience-based. Plus, you have to have raised your own kids. If you haven't lived with teenagers, you can't teach parenting. You have to have lived with teenagers. It's a whole different thing. You got to start letting go. Because a lot of what you're doing with younger children, if you haven't lived with teenagers, you might be setting your teen years up. You might be setting yourself up for a bad teen period. So yeah, it is heavily experience. The way I teach it, it's experience-based. So I'm sure there's other people who, I would never take parenting advice from someone who hasn't finished the job and worked with hundreds of other kids, because how can they teach it? It's a full-blown, it's a full experience right through the young, and you got to finish the job to teach this stuff. Because how do you know if what you're doing now is going to work in the teen years? And how do you know how to get into that? It's a whole different shift, raising teenagers. So anyway. Yeah, that's what I'm just recommending that, because if it's me or someone else, make sure they finish the job with their own kids and they're heavily experience-based with all sorts of issues with all ages. I don't get questioned much anymore, but every so often someone will say, how can you talk about parenting if you don't have any degrees or anything? Well, there's nothing like working your butt off to get respect with a delinquent teenager You can't get that from any book. You just can't. I had to figure all that out for myself. How to work. I worked with troubled teenagers, and I figured it out. And you can't learn that from a book. Yeah, it's a whole different thing. It was a lot of work. You found your life's task. I found my life's passion. I've been doing this. I started volunteering in daycare centers when I was 11 years old. I was always pretty good at it. It's your cousin here, Herba. I don't know who that is. Anyway, I forgot what I was saying. Never mind. Okay. Advice to give a 6-year-old girl about friends who are mean. Yeah, just say, you have to earn. Actually, that's tough. I could go in so many different directions with this one. Kids have a very small pool of friends to pull from. They go to school, and especially at that age, they're in one class. They've got 30 kids to make friends with, basically, right? It's a very small pool. I used to tell my kids, sometimes you just have to suck it up and try and get along with the mean kids until you move on to the next year, and then you'll hopefully meet someone nicer. It's just part of it. You just have to put up with stuff, right? So, yeah. Because I didn't always try and make everything easy for my kids. I always said, when you come home, your life will be wonderful. We had a very loving home life, a fun family. And I said, but when you get out there in the world, life is tough. You got to earn respect from other people. You got to earn everything in life, except when you come home, it's your safe haven. So, but I didn't try and sugarcoat anything. And when they both got a bad teacher. She ended up quitting. She was not a good teacher. And they both ended up, no one liked this teacher. She was in the wrong career. She knew it. She left. Anyway, they both ended up with her. And I said, I was glad, because I thought that's a really good experience to learn how to deal with difficult people at a very young age. And because you're going to have difficult bosses throughout the years. And they're both really good at that, at dealing with difficult people. Because I didn't try and sugarcoat and make everything easy for my kids. Quite the opposite. You come home, everything's wonderful. When you go out in the world, I'm not going to save you from that. You got to learn how to navigate that on your own. I gave them skills to navigate the world on their own. Doesn't mean it's always easy. I didn't have all the answers. Nobody does. Nobody has all the answers. Life is messy. It's part of it. My daughters, I'm only going to read this out because there is no set time, but I'm going to read it out because I want to put you at ease. My daughter is 14 months and still doesn't walk and only says, Mama, Papa, is that late? Absolutely not. My daughter didn't walk till she was 14 months old, and she wasn't a big talker. Her brother, he didn't walk till he was 1, but he never shut up. He came out of the womb talking. I mean, he just never shut up. They're all different. Okay. At 14 months, I wouldn't worry about anything at that age. But if you're really concerned, I'm not a medical practitioner. You can go see someone professional if you want. But yeah, I knew someone who didn't walk or talk till she was 3 years old. And then she got up and ran and never shut up. So she just was no rush. So they're all different. There is no absolute, time limit for this stuff. Okay. Oh, God, my back's sore. Someone said, what authors do you listen to? Authors do you recommend? Oh, I've never read a book on kids or parenting, so I wouldn't have a clue. Everything I've learned is kids taught me all this. I would never go to an adult to learn what I've learned. Like from my perspective, I went right to the source. I figured it out on my own. Everything I teach, kids taught me. So I've never, ever read a book on kids or parenting. I'm sure it's okay, but I have my own style. I'm very set in my ways with this. It's not the only way to parent, but I know how this works. So if I was to read a book from someone else, I'd be doing this the whole time. Oh, God, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? They'd probably do the same if I wrote a book. Like I have my own style. It's like diets. There's lots of different diets that work. You've just got to find one that works for you, right? Like I'm a gluten-free health food vegan. Would I ever push that? Nope. It just works for me. So yeah, you find what works for you. But I've never, ever read a book on kids or parenting. I would just find it very annoying, I'm sure, because they're not going to agree with what I do, and vice versa, right? You got to put an age. I can't answer questions without an age. I'm going to read out something. This was something that came up in coaching, and a few of my clients liked it. And oftentimes I'll come up with a catchphrase. I'll just make something up. And then the parent will go, I've been working with them for weeks and, they're struggling with something. And then I'll just say, I'll make up one sentence and they'll go, oh my God, I get it now. I just get it. So then I think, oh, I've discovered the clue. I've discovered the one sentence I can say to everybody and they'll just get it. Anyway, so then I'll tell the exact same thing to other parents and they're like this. Meant nothing to them. But this one, quite a few parents have liked this saying because I talk about leadership, right? That's what I teach, how to be a good leader. You deal with bad behavior, then you focus on the good kids. It's more about connecting than anything. So, and then they say, but the kids keep fighting with me constantly. And I said, this is the sentence that a whole bunch of parents have said has helped them. You can't fight with a calm, loving person forever. If you're calm and loving, they can't fight with you forever. They'll eventually give up. You can't fight with a calm, loving person forever. So it may seem like things are getting worse because if you change your parenting style and how you talk to your kids, how you treat them, they're going to fight back initially because they're going to try and get more control like the old way, right? So it usually gets worse before it gets better, but eventually they'll give in. You cannot fight with a calm, loving person forever. It doesn't make any sense. So be a calm, loving parent. Except when you're playing with them, you can be nuts, but that's the loving, right? So yeah, did that resonate with anybody? Because it's one of those things I thought, but a whole bunch of parents have said, oh, that's great. That's great. It gives them hope for the future because especially with teenagers, I specialize in teenagers, right? So they say, when is it ever going to get easier? And that's when I say, you can't fight with a calm, loving person forever. My son was 15. He would have liked to have rebelled. He had it in him. But he said to me, he was kind of mad at me one day. And he goes, well, you've been a really difficult mom. I was shocked. I thought it was great. We were got along great and everything. I said, what? And he says, because I could never rebel. You're too reasonable and easy to talk to. I thought, I didn't know whether to celebrate or apologize. I was very confused. But yeah, they can't rebel against a calm, loving person. Can you see what I see? What is that? Jeez, it scared the bejeebs out of me. Did you see what I just saw? Okay. Oh, any tips for runners? Yes, get a leash. Put them on a harness. And when you go out, as soon as they run, you say you don't run away. As soon as they start to run, be ready for it. Clip them in. Say no running. It's going to be hell on earth, but they'll eventually learn. What do you mean remove no? I don't think I said remove no. I wouldn't have said that. Are you talking to someone else who made a comment? I like that. Calm, loving leader. Think about it. You can't fight with a calm, loving person forever. It's impossible. It just doesn't make any sense. You gotta take that high road. That's I often when I'm coaching, I say, you stay on that high road, let them join you up there. As soon as you start arguing with them, you're on the low road with them. Who's on the high road to pull you both up? Nobody. Stay on the high road, stay calm. Let them, they will eventually join you because you can't fight with a calm, loving person forever, right? Yeah, it does apply to all ages. I used to be more of a right fighter. If I come up against a snarky person, I'm pretty good with words. And I was a right fighter because I used to be really good with words. I don't do that anymore. There's no point. I write them all off, by the way. I don't have any snarky people in my life anymore. Got rid of them all. I don't put up with that. I'm too old. I can't put up with that. Okay. Hi, Selma. I'm assuming that's a Selma I know. Oh, I got a kid on here. Oh, I'm on TikTok now, aren't I? I'm having issues with TikTok. It's like crack. I can't get off it. scrolling on TikTok. And when I start, I know I'm in for the long haul. I can't get off of TikTok. It's like I should put a timer on or something. But yeah, it's just like crack. It's addictive. Well, I don't know what crack's like, but. I had a glass of wine over the weekend. I used to be able to drink. I was never a big drinker, but I used to be able to drink. I can't seem to drink anymore. And they say that as you get older, which isn't a bad thing. As you get older, I just get real happy for about 5 minutes, and then I want to have a nap. Then I'm hungover all the next day on one glass of wine. It's funny. Okay. Calm, loving leader. Yeah. Yeah, they can't fight you forever. Eventually they'll just give in because there's no payoff. By the way, kids are very different from adults in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways they're the same. But kids past the age of about 3 and 9 months to 4 years old, that's my way I've observed it over the decades. They only do what works. If something stops working, they stop doing it. Adults, on the other hand, what do they say? The definition of ignorance or stupidity is you keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. Kids aren't like that. They're pliable. They're changing all the time. They lean into what's working and lean away from what isn't. So, and also there's this saying out there. There's so many stupid sayings that pick up popularity. Is you have to teach people how to treat you. That's such crap. Like when it comes to adults, what a bunch of garbage. It's not my job to teach you how to be a nice person. You take people as they come to you. Don't try and change them. There's no way that I think adults should have to teach other people how to treat them. If the person's a jerk, toss them off, toss them in the alley. Give it, if people don't come to me with the best self, and they treat me well, you're out of here. Like, it's not my job to teach you how to treat me. That's stupid. Whoever came up with that, you got to teach people how to treat you. What a stupid thing to say. A lot of stuff like that. It's not my job to turn you into a nice person that treats me well. That's your job. There's a whole bunch of stuff like that out there. I know it picks up speed and it becomes a saying, but it doesn't mean it's good. That was a lot of psychology. You look at psychiatrists and psychology, stuff comes and goes. They teach different stuff throughout the decades. That was something that they used to teach years and years ago. They were teaching people that it's your job to teach people how to treat you. In other words, their personality is my job. That's what you're saying, basically. And I don't know how that even became a thing. It makes no sense at all. It means don't allow bad behavior. No, it goes past that. They actually used to teach that you've got to teach them how you want to be treated. If you don't come into my life knowing how to treat me well, you're out of here. Like, I'm not going to teach you that. It's not my job. I get what you're saying, though. But yeah, the bigger picture was because I actually read about that, and they were saying that you got to teach people how to treat you, like literally. Okay, please write a book about the parenting tips. Yeah, we still might. I've been approached a lot about writing a book by publishers and that, but it's just time. What happened was 2025 is going to be our book writing year. We'd planned it all out, and then the podcast just has been taking off. So we're putting our energy. My daughter's my business partner. She does all the planning. So we're putting our energy into what people are going to, right? So are people going to buy a book as much as they're going to listen to a podcast? We don't know. We still might do a book. We're not sure yet. The podcast is kind of leading us. It's kind of leading us, pulling our nose in that direction right now. So, and I just do what my daughter tells me to do. So she does all the planning. I hate all planning. She loves it. So yeah, you're a book person for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I like both. I like books and podcasts. But we're just going where people are going. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, I don't know. That's my daughter's job. Like, I don't know what we're going to do because she'll tell me. Anyway, the podcast is BratBusters Parenting. We do it together, my daughter and I. She's been working with me full time now. A book plus a podcast. Yeah, it depends. You see, the thing is that we don't know how much work it's going to be. It takes a couple of years to get a book out. So we're just not sure how much time we have to put into it. And if I'm going to write a book, it's going to be good. Like, there's no way I'm going to be doing a book that I'm not really proud of. Yeah, and my daughter and I, she started working full time with me in August. So, and she's done so many things in the business already. And, but yeah, I don't have any say in that because I have no interest in planning out the business. Zero. Okay, Salma, can you do more podcast subjects about siblings and how to nurture their relationship? Yeah, if you send an email go to hello@BratBusters and tell my daughter that's her. She does the hello@BratBusters. She takes in all that information. She decides what we talk. I never know what we're going to be doing in a podcast. When I turn up in a podcast, I never know what we're going to be talking about. It's funny because one day we sat down, we often work together at cafes and that, and we sat down and I said, coaching is very different from everything else I do. Coaching is very personal. And I get to know a lot about the parents in coaching. And a lot of stuff comes up in there that you don't see anywhere else because we go more in depth with all this stuff. So I said, here's a few things that my coaching clients like to talk about. So, and it hasn't come up in podcasts yet. So anyway, my daughter and I just gave her all these ideas. And then so she says the idea in the podcast, she says, okay, we're going to be talking about this. And I go, oh, I hate talking about that. And she goes, Mom, you gave me that idea. Doesn't mean I like talking about it. There's a few things I don't like talking about. But yeah. Yeah, I do accept coaching clients, but there is a wait list for that. So if you're interested in coaching. And I don't always take everyone on. I like to mix up the ages. There's an intake form at BratBusters.com if you want to go there. And there's an intake form. So sometimes I'll take people on like right away. And if it's a past client, they always get first priority. And crisis, if it's like, serious teenage crisis work or something, they get priority. So. And also, the last couple of weeks, a lot of my existing clients have been finishing. So I thought I could take on all these new clients, but then they rehire me again. So a lot of times they just want to keep going. So that's what happens too. So I can't predict if I'm going to have a spot open. What's the schedule you meet? Well, we can work around anything. I work with clients all over the world. Might take 2 or 3 weeks to get together though. And also I don't set up appointments. I don't set up appointments ahead of time. Each time I talk to someone, then we set up the next appointment. So usually my future weeks are all open, and flexible. Not always. I do have some long-term clients that they like to meet a certain time every week, but generally I don't do it that way. Almost 3-year-old fighting everything. Okay. So bedtime, showering, all that. Okay. The age of 3, it's almost like on their 3rd birthday, they stop and think. It's a fork in the road. If you've been a leader and you are confident and calm and all that, you've been a leader, at 3, they stop and think about it. It's almost like they go, wait a minute, you don't know what you're doing. I'm going to take over. Or you know what you're doing. I'm just going to go with the flow. It's a fork in the road. They stop and think they just analyze things and they either take control or they let you do it. The fork in the road. So yeah, you're right around there. So that's what's happening. Okay. Oh. I wrote this down and it was funny and I wrote it down, but I'm going to read it out. And then the idea is great, but I'm just going to tweak it a little bit. Someone wrote in a comment because someone was saying, well, I don't want to make my kids angry at me or something like that. So someone wrote, put your backbone where your wishbone is and stop trying to be your kid's bestie. So, because it was funny. It was written like cute. It was funny. And yeah, I like that. Put your backbone where your wishbone is, but you can still be friends with your kids. But that is your secondary relationship. I was definitely friends with my kids all the time because I already had my leadership cemented. You work on the leadership first. My number one job with my kids was I'm mom before I'm anything else. But because I already had that leadership cement, the mutual respect was already cemented from about the age of 3. We were just buddies. We were friends. We goofed around all the time. It just took, if they ever did anything out of line, it just took a look and that was it. So yeah, so you can be besties with your kids, but you're parent first. That's your first role. They don't need more friends. They need parents. A lot of parents get that mixed up. I knew someone years ago who posted on Facebook or something, and the daughter was 15, and the mom was one of those cool moms, bestie, cool moms. Anyway, she won't know who I'm talking about anyway. So anyway, it wasn't someone I knew well at all. It was just someone I knew of. Anyway, she posted a picture on Facebook with her 15-year-old daughter in a movie theater, and they had a bottle of wine. That is not a parent. That's stupid. How stupid is that? God, I was mad. I thought that is ignorant, stupid, moronic. That is not right. That's not a parent. That is just a bestie, right? Trying to be popular. Stupid. Yeah, I was mad at that. Just for show. Yeah, isn't that awful? She was a cool mom. Okay, actually, I have to it's after 9. I'm usually passed out by now. And I've still got a shower and all that stuff. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I hope you had a really good Christmas. I had a lovely Christmas because I hate cooking and I didn't do any hosting. My kids are grown and they're in charge of all that now. So yippee. But anyway, so yeah, I had a lovely Christmas. It's my first Christmas with my first grandchild. So she's 1 next week. She doesn't know what's going on. She's only 1. It'll be fun in a year or 2. Anyway, with her, I mean, she's cute as a button, but she doesn't understand Christmas, obviously. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I hope you all had a wonderful time. Remember to get the toy rotation system. Put away all those toys that they weren't thrilled with that they got for Christmas. Pack them away. They'll look great in March when you pull them out. Anyway, check out my website, BratBusters.com. You can get my free behavior board. It's a mini course. It has toddler section on it now too. Or you can look at my boot camp courses. I have one for toddlers, one for 3 to 12-year-olds. Or you can look into coaching. I always have a wait list for coaching, but you can get on the wait list if you're interested. And you can look at our podcast. My daughter's my business partner. We do the podcast together. It's on YouTube, and you can see us in video if you want. And it's everywhere else, Spotify and everything. It's really taken off. And I just want to thank you right now for your support with the podcast. It's just taken off. So we didn't know. So anyway, it's going really well. And I really appreciate your support. My business is a business, but it's passion first. I absolutely love what I do. And I'm very determined to help you enjoy parenting as much as I did. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here to help you raise great kids. That's a byproduct. I'm here. I want you to enjoy parenting. I want you to have fun with it. I want you to wallow in it like I did. That is always in the back of my mind. I want you to have fun. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me, and we'll talk next time. Bye now.